In this lesson, we're going to release all the pressure of accurately drawing a person. While looking at a person as our reference, we're going to throw off all wrong or right, and we're going to draw shapes. The gist of this exercise is you're going to draw a silhouette, then carve your figure into two shapes of values, light and shadow. We're going to disregard what the figure is or what part of the thing you're drawing and just try to make a cool looking shape. It has a kind of adult coloring book feel to it, like a make your own adult coloring book. You can go real far in art if you view what you're doing from this mindset. When drawing your silhouette, you're just carving out the envelope of the model's shape. I encourage you to start fast and careless. I'm doing this one loosey-goosey. The more you lean into this carelessness, paradoxically, the more you'll probably end up slowing down and getting into a meditative flow state. It's a great place. You're just drawing angles and lines, no stakes at all. In the end, no matter how inaccurate your drawing, you will have a beautiful black and white design, and you will still have exercised the fundamental skill of drawing. Measuring lines. Bigger? Smaller? When you're relaxed, the answer is as clear as the blue sky. So, let's do this one in real time, and I'll show you what I'm doing. You got the picture of the model up there. It's from lineofaction.com. And you'll see I've started with the head area, and I'm just using angles and lines to get the outside shape of the head. A little bump up there. I'm intentionally not trying to think, what does a nose look like? What do lips look like? I'm just looking at the angles of whatever this thing is and going for it. No correcting, nothing like that. I'm down here on what an artist might call the arm or the shoulders, now on the chest. You see, I'm just looking at the angle, drawing it. It doesn't matter how accurate I am with this, because in the end, I'm just gonna make a design out of it. This isn't a figure drawing that I'm gonna sell. I'm not studying how to draw body parts better. I'm just doing shapes. So you see, I'm not giving much love or attention to any particular spot. No spot is more special than any other. I'm just getting the full silhouette of the character. Let's shoot the leg off of the body like that. More or less, kind of like that shape. Yeah, sure, that works. And then, cursorily, I'll finish off the arm. Just a couple angles, just a couple lines. You'll see paradoxically that the more I don't care about these body parts, the more I can actually be attentive to interesting things that those body parts do. Like how the forearm kind of butts out a little bit. Maybe if I'm just thinking I'm drawing a forearm, then I may not notice that detail. But if I do this a couple times, then I may notice through practice time and again that bump seems to keep appearing. And so I've learned something about how to draw a forearm just by noticing how often that bump shows up. So now what's happening here is I'm drawing the shapes of the light on that face. You can do the shapes of the light or the shapes of the shadow, depending on what's most convenient. Generally, it will be the shapes of the shadow that is most convenient. It can be a tricky judgment to decide, well, where does light turn into shadow? The great thing about this is because this is all subjective, you can cut the light and shadow however you feel. But if you want a way to make it a little bit easier to distinguish the two, then squinting is your best friend. Squint at the reference picture of the model, not on your drawing, and you'll see that all the distinction between the values kind of disappears a little bit, and it simplifies into sort of just a light shape and a dark shape. Just draw that dividing line between the two. I'm just working part by part on my silhouette, looking for where the light and dark separate. You can be as detailed and refined as you want in this phase. I suggest if you're starting out, just go big or go home. But once you get into the flow, naturally you might want to search for more detail, especially on the face. It makes a little bit more sense to go a little bit more fine and granular on the face. But again, in this exercise, the face isn't special. So if you don't feel like focusing on the face, then that's actually great. After I've filled in the shapes of shadow, I'm going to fill in the shadow shapes with hatch marks. If you're a pen user, this is like the ideal exercise for you. Number one, because when you do this exercise in pen, it looks super duper cool. But also using a pen reinforces that you don't go back, right? If you make a mistake, it's fine because there are no mistakes. You're not drawing a person, you're just drawing arbitrary shapes. But I am a pencil guy. For some reason, when I use pen, it hurts my arm a little bit. So I'm just gonna go through with this the way I like to do it. Again, filling out the final shapes. And you'll find that as you get this black and white discrepancy going where your figure is complete, all those mistakes that you made don't quite matter so much, because the thing that's really communicated here is the strong distinction between the dark shapes and the light shapes. That's where the beauty in this drawing is, and therefore the accuracy of it doesn't matter so much. Much of what makes drawing difficult has to do with our emotional need for our drawing to not look juvenile. This can make us obsess over accuracy rather than letting accuracy emerge from a practice of relaxed focus and attentive copying of our subject. So the trick is, if you can find a way to get all the psychological pressure off, your emergent accuracy is remarkably good already. After all, from a young age, you've known when a thing is bigger and when a thing is smaller than another thing. And ultimately, that's all drawing is. So we pull that trick off with this exercise by changing our expectations of the end result. By the end, I won't have a person. I will have a black and white design of cool shapes. Even the stark division of only two values will add to the confidence of the final expression. You've made an effortless choice of either black or white. I like to use sharp angles for this reason too. Human bodies aren't angular, but shapes are. Reinforce the designness of your work by making things sharp. Looking sharp is always a confidence boost, whether you dress in a suit or draw with angles. Paralysis by analysis is always what chokes us up. It's why skillful ballerinas who are totally prepared might still forget what they're supposed to do on stage, because they got in their own heads too much. But dumb action never seems to fail. If nothing else, it will act. So if you never draw another thing again, a nose, a head, an eye, your attentive drawing of the shapes in that area will just gain more and more fidelity by virtue of simply measuring angles. Who cares if it looks like a nose or not? That problem will take care of itself if you just dumbly draw and enjoy as a practice. Dumb is an interesting word. It means speechless. When your brain is no longer speaking, giving a constant play-by-play of everything that's wrong in your drawing, everything you should do, everything that could happen to you if you can't get this drawing right, then suddenly you have 1,000,000 times more space to actually pay attention to your drawing. Attention isn't intense at all. It's relaxed. But intentional accuracy is practicing to be tense. That tightness will show in your work as a lifeless drawing without confidence. So give this exercise a try. It's really returning back to the very basics of drawing. Drawing is not drawing things, it's just drawing lines and angles. That's the real magic of drawing, is even though on the page you're really just making lines and angles, somehow by some crazy magic, those lines and angles are transformed to look like reality. It's amazing. So, by doing this simple activity and being unconscious of what you're making, you're doing exactly what master artists do. This is their practice, whether the reference is in front of them or in their head. They're just drawing lines. Now you just practice drawing lines, and eventually you'll be a master too. But master or not, what's most important with how you spend your time is that you have fun. So I hope this activity helps re-enliven the sense of freedom and fun when you sit down and draw. After all, what's more fun than no pressure, kicking back, making something beautiful? Have fun, guys. Oh, and one more thing. If you like my ideas, you will like my books. Here's the latest one. It's called How to Write This Book. You can find it on Amazon. The link is down in the description. Check it out. Peace.